What is up, Force fam? Star Wars Dad back for another video. Today we're going to be looking at Ian Klein's second place list and getting into some gameplay and just kind of my thoughts on the deck. Before we get into today's video, please make sure to check out my Patreon if you want to get more exclusive content from me. So that's like deck building, helping you with your decks, giveaways. Deck building is kind of my thing. I've been doing it for over 30 years now. Also, make sure to sign up for the 6,000 subscriber giveaway, where I'll be giving away 3 hyperspace foil Darth Vaders. And please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. And then for today's video, I will be giving away a hyperspace Devastator, just since we are playing this deck. So in the comments, let me know what spice you are playing right now. What kind of spicy deck are you playing? And I will pick one lucky winner to give the hyperspace Devastator to. And also, I would love to do some videos of like decks from players in the community, where you know, if you are interested in your deck being featured, like where I talk about it, do some gameplay, and maybe do some adjustments to the list, maybe on how I would play it, that sort of thing. Just kind of let me know in the comments if you're interested in that, and I will be try to write everybody's deck list down and try to get to those over the course of the next few weeks. So to get into today's video, so this is the deck that kind of took the Galactic Championships by storm. There was a lot of these that finished in the top 64. Again, I mean, I talked about this in the last video I did, but this was just such great deck building. I love the creativity and the spice. I love that this was kind of like on the down low. It just makes the game so much more exciting when everyone thinks they have the meta figured out and they don't. And then somebody comes in with a deck like this, and a whole team of people come in with a deck like this and just kick butt. And then the deck itself, you can tell this deck has been tested hundreds and hundreds of times in preparation. Like, there's so many cool things that happen in this list. And I'm just kind of throwing myself in there in these games today. I'm just trying to figure things out as I go. I did tweak the list a little bit just for the games, and it's not shown in this. This is just Ian Klein's list. But I put the 2 Devastators in the main board. I also added in the 2 Grenade Strike, again, just because it's best of 1, and I wanted to be a little more well-rounded. And I believe I took out the Perilous position, just so I have like an answer in space, like if my opponent's a space-heavy deck. Again, since it's best of 1. But to kind of break down their list, so the 3 Witch of the Mist, for me so far in testing and watching them play over the weekend, is just a really sweet card, because on turn 1, you can just go ahead and start force throwing things, which is nice. It activates Force Lightning for the following turn and gets that going. You can play a Constructed Lightsaber on it on turn 2 to make it a Sentinel as a 3/6 and immediately just blockade things on the ground, as well as put pressure on their base. So it's just a really nice card. A lot of times you can just squeeze it in on a random turn so that you have that force unit on board. It's hidden, so it's protected for a turn, which allows you, the opportunity to claim the initiative and use like a Force Lightning if you need to, or a big force throw to take out a unit, whether you're discarding your own unit or whatever they have in their hand and whatnot. Force Lightning is, to me, like it's 3 Rivals Falls. The Rivals Fall is the 4th copy in the sideboard. The fact that it shuts off abilities is a bonus. It's just such a valuable card in here. A lot of times your opponent is expecting it, so you can bait, use the force unit, take out another unit with the Force Lightning, and basically bait them, and then use the power of the dark side on their leader, things like that. Obviously, Force Lightning is great for taking out leaders. It's great for taking out just huge units like Crate Dragons for just 1 damage. And, you can kill a Crate Dragon for 6 resources and only take 1 damage to your base, which is crazy good. Force Throw, of course. And this deck is a little more focused on hand disruption. It doesn't have the Jedi in hiding, but you don't have the Force base, so that wouldn't make sense. The 3 Force Throw and the 2 Pillage, though, are great against, like, control and mid-range decks. You're bringing in that 3rd copy of Pillage in those matchups, I would imagine. The 3 Heroic Resolve is a way to get Anakin online. It's also just a nice boost for Kylo. It costs 3 resources, and then if Kylo is able to stick on the board for a couple turns, you can use its action ability to give Kylo +4. Um, it's also just good randomly to put on like a Secretive Sage with a shield. Secretive Sage with a shield has been uh, very strong in the games that I played today. I just used it to get the Force online, and then it just turned out to be one of the reasons that I would win the matches. Doing things like adding a fallen lightsaber on it or constructed lightsaber to make it a sentinel. Even the Battle Fury. One game, I think I won just by putting a Battle Fury on it, making a 5/5 with a shield. I mean, that shield makes a big difference, right? Like against certain matchups, like if they don't have a way to deal with that, or they don't have a lot of just like spot removal, like Power of the Dark Sides or takedowns or things like that, then that shield becomes really powerful, especially when you add upgrades to it. And that's also just another way to put pressure on your opponents. And then if it dies, then you just get all those upgrades in the discard pile, and then you could just get them back with Kylo, which is another way to play this. And I think the original, like, looking at this original list with the Fallen Lightsaber and the Perilous Position in the main, there's 19 upgrades. Like in today's version, I played with 15 in the main. I took out the Fallen Lightsaber and the Perilous Position just to be a little more well-rounded, but 19 upgrades in the main. So, like, that's definitely a way to play this, is just put those upgrades on these cheap units like Kriss, which already has a big body as a 2/4. The Secretive Sage has that shield. The Witch of the Mist, like I said, is just solid because it's hidden. That's a way to play this. Long Pike is also a good target for a lot of these upgrades, especially because it can shield itself, which is sweet. So that's definitely another approach of playing this deck that I was figuring out as I started to play it. The Hotshot Blaster is just nice as another smuggle card to go alongside your Long Pikes. With this Force Throw meta and all the discard, having cards to smuggle, I think, is pretty important at this point with competitive decks. Like, you need to either have a lot of card draw, which this deck does, and this deck doesn't care if you discard the upgrades from Force Throws and Pillages and things, but you still want to have, you don't want to have an empty hand in this deck. So, like, having those smuggle components makes a big difference. Long Pike is also just great for putting a shield onto Kylo when it's out there to protect it. Just keep doing that every turn, and then it's just, there's not much they can do unless they have the spot removal, like the Rival's Fall or some way of defeating Kylo. Infiltrator's skill is to get around heavy Sentinel decks. A couple copies in the main makes a lot of sense for decks that try to slow you down with Sentinels so that Kylo can just get through. And, of course, it's cheap as well, which is really nice. Sith Holocron is amazing. For one, resource. That card is nuts. When I was playing that card today, that was the biggest card that felt amazing in here. It has great synergy, of course, with Admiral Mahdi. Like, if that's out there, then you can just attack him with Kylo with the Sith Holocron, kill the Mahdi, and then attack him again with Kylo and just win the game, right? That's one of the cool things it does initially. But another thing that it does is just doing 2 damage to one of your own units is not a problem, especially like with cards like Kriss, Long Pike, Anakin, especially if you have shielded units, like you don't care about knocking the shield off, in certain situations. But that +2 that you get is huge for helping you to be more aggressive. Not only is it great for Kylo, but again, like in one of the games today, I think I used it on Secretive Sage, and I was just attacking him for 5 power with Secretive Sage. It makes it a 3/3, and then I was like damaging my own units or my shielded units. I think I was damaging my Long Pike with a shield, and I did that 2 or 3 times just to win the game. So the Secretive Sage with a shield, and is really powerful in combination with Long Pike, and the Sith Holocron is such a underrated card, and it's just amazing in here. Snapshot Reflex, of course, just to be able to immediately attack with Kylo on its deploy without having to take an additional action. So that's really nice, especially in those situations where you're about to close the game out, or you're worried that Kylo's going to get defeated, or just like somebody's going to have a Kit Fisto's Ether Sprite, or just something to just kind of shut off your Kylo or make your Kylo just not near as impactful. So Snapshot is very important in a lot of matchups. I would say it's even more important in like control matchups, so that when you do deploy Kylo, you can just, delay your deploy as long as possible and put like, get up to like, let's say 13, 14 resources and just put all the lightsabers on there and then just Snapshot Reflex, and there's not much they can do, if you're able to just swing in for 20 damage or more than that, which is an awesome win con and just one of the coolest things about this deck. I've even added that to like my Kylo Data Vault deck because I just think it makes too much sense, because that's more of a control style build, and then you just have that snapshot in there whenever you're ready to swing away with Kylo, and to make sure that you get in for damage so that your deploy turn is not a waste. So just an awesome addition to this deck, and at 3 resources, it's totally worth that, saving that action. Admiral Mahdi is just awesome in here. The fact that this card was used so much in the tournament with all these decks and just had so much success. I just love Admiral Mahdi's ability, and we just barely seen that be relevant. So it was so cool to see it be relevant at the Galactic Championships. Like, that is just one of the coolest things in this deck to me. I've seen that there's this one YouTuber, I can't remember his name, but he likes make decks with Admiral Mahdi. Like, he just tries to figure out ways to break that card, which is awesome. I love that guy for doing that. I can't remember his name. I'll try to look it up and put it on the screen here. But I just love that was in here, and it's also just a very legitimate win con in here with immediately attack in with Kylo with a snapshot, and then kill the Mahdi with the Sith Holocron, and then just attack in again and just win the game. So the 3 Kriss is just a great turn 1 body to get Force Lightning, Force Throw online. The MiGs, of course, if you didn't get a chance to watch the Galactic Championships, make sure you go back and watch day 2 and day 3 when this deck was on there a few times. But and definitely watch Ian Klein play this, because it was just a masterful watching him play this deck. But Migs Mayfield is just one of your best turn 1 plays. You just immediately discard one of your 19 upgrades and do 2 damage to a unit and immediately Tarkintown it. Also is another way to just push pressure on your opponent's base while synergizing with Kylo's ability and Kylo's deploy by discarding upgrades and doing 2 damage to units to take things out, or 2 damage to their opponent's base, whatever makes more sense. Just an awesome card in here. Even if you don't get on turn 1, it's still good later in the game just to kind of get around things, get around shields, get over the top with just 2 damage to their base, whatever you need. And it synergizes so well, I think, with Ruthless Raider and Devastator too, when those cards come in as another way to reach your opponent's base and get past certain things. The 2 Battle Fury, again, just great synergy. That's also a very good card for Migs Mayfield. You put that on there, make it a 5/5, attack in, discard a card, do 2 more damage to a unit or to base. So you're essentially swinging in for 7 damage to their base with Migs Mayfield with that card. And just has great synergy in Kylo decks. And it's also just a really cheap way to make Kylo huge whenever you do deploy it. The 3 Power of the Dark Side is just solid removal, like I said, to go alongside the Force Lightning and the Force Throws. Kind of put your opponent in situations where sometimes you bait them out with the Force Lightning, play the Force Lightning, and you still have the 3 resources for the Power of the Dark Side. And one of my favorite things about Kylo in general is just the card draw is so good. The deck is so consistent. You are doing what you want to do most games because you're doing so much card draw. And any deck where you are able to benefit from throwing things in your discard pile later on is just really powerful. So I do think, with that being said, the Parliamentarian is going to be played everywhere. I think that's going to be in everybody's sideboard, if not their main board, as Kylo continues to gain popularity. I think certain cards that were in Kylo, like Constructed Lightsaber, I mean, that card was $13 a week ago. Card's $40 now. Anakin was $20 a week ago. It's $45. So this deck's going to be played everywhere. Everyone's buying those cards. The 2 Fallen Lightsaber, again, just another way to ping things. Has good synergy with your Force units. Again, a turn 2 Kriss with a Fallen Lightsaber as a 5/7 is very, very powerful. It sets up Tarkintown. It's putting a ton of pressure on their base. It's just strong. Same with the Secretive Sage as a 5/5 doing that. A couple perilous positions to slow down big threats or slow down leaders before Kylo flips, especially because you're not ramping in this particular version. I've talked about the Kylo ECL deck a lot. I've done, I think, two different videos on it. That's still one of my preferred decks to play. I would say that's in the top 5 decks for me. And being able to slow down decks that have a ramp advantage against you, especially in game 1 if you're playing best of 3, is really important. You do have the Syndulla in the sideboard for those decks as a way to catch up. And then the 3 Long Pike, that card, again, just being able to pull things out of your resources, especially when there's so much discard right now, and it's in so many of these relevant decks. I mean, the top decks that, for example, my top decks are Mother Talzin, heavy discard. I mean, I'm playing all the discard things. I'm playing 2 to 3 Pillage, the Jedi in Hiding, the Force Throw. Another top deck that I'm playing is Anakin Blue, Anakin from Shadows of the Galaxy, and that has a ton of discard. So just having those small components is so important, and that's not to mention Han Blue and the Yoda Red control deck we saw, and Quinlan, and you know, whatever else you can think of that plays those combination of cards. I mean, now this deck, this deck plays a lot of discard too, so you're going to be seeing a lot of these decks, so you're going to have a lot of mirror matches. Again, I'm not a big fan of mirror matches, so I wouldn't be playing this deck just because I don't enjoy mirror matches that much. I like to play my own thing as much as I can. And then a couple pillage for that discard, and then the Anakin, of course, as just a great body and a, you know, great way to start closing the game out alongside the long pikes, and to be able to do that -3/-3 twice. The sideboard, you know, the grenade strikes, like I said, that's probably, I would imagine that's for space, or just like it's another additional way to ping things on turn one. The Syndulla for ramp, the pillage for mid-range control, the Rival's Fall for the same thing, mid-range control. I would imagine that's the same for Ruthless Raider and Devastator, as just ways to immediately put damage on their base and then benefit off of Raider dying and things like that. I really enjoyed playing this deck. Shout out to the Bothan Network for coming up with this amazing, amazing deck. There was, I think there was 14 of these originally played. Is that correct? And then a bunch of these made like top 64. Like it was like 5 of them. That's like such an incredible. I'll double check on that to make sure that I'm saying that right. But I think that was what I when I was reading through, I think that was what it was. So like so many of these got into the top 64. So just an incredible job by them. But awesome, awesome deck. But let's get into a few games so I can kind of show you how this deck is played in case you missed it, and definitely go check out the gameplay from the Galactic Championships as well. All right, so decent keep. All right, what are we getting resourced here? I don't think they have Sentinels. They're trying to exhaust us, right? Yeah. So let's resource that. And I don't know. I really just want to slow them down as much as possible. Do we want to power the dark side here? There's a Migs. That's pretty sweet. And Migs lets us Tarkintown them. All right, let's do that. Could also just power the dark side here. And then Tarkintown the next guy, which I'm not mad about. Trying to decide what makes most. I don't want him to attack into Migs. That doesn't make any sense. So let's go here. Let's just do that. So we don't even have to use Tarkintown. Okay. So now we just Tarkintown the Sabine, and then power the dark side, the red 3. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that. Battle Fury is a card. I don't think we need Kriss anymore. I just want to start pumping up our Kylo here. Alrighty then. Well, this is an easy one. We just take this out. Is he hidden? No, he's not hidden. Okay. Okay. Say we can go ahead and get rid of the resolve. He took the initiative. Let's just go here. Okay, I don't think we need both secretive sages here. Devastator is one of our closers. Getting closer and closer to Kylo. So far, we just have the Heroic Resolve, but we're going to get more things in there. Go ahead and drop Migs next after we take this damage. Okay, so we played Quinlan, okay. That's cool. Don't have removal at the moment, but we're going to go ahead and drop Migs. Then we're going to... Sorry, what happened? Oh, he used his ability, okay. Let's just cycle first. 2 damage to Quinlan, I guess. We do have Avar the dark side, which is definitely not bad. I mean, he's going to most likely target the... Oh, wow, he's going extremely wide here. Didn't see the Greedo coming. Okay, I think we need to get the Secret of Sage out, and then we use Power of the Dark Side next turn. Okay, and then Kylo's looking at going to be a... At least an 11-11. Okay. Who's he killing? Migs? That's my guess. No. He's just playing cards. Alright, let's use Sage to get in and take out... Actually, we can just cycle Kylo and kill Greedo. Another Secretive Sage. Okay. We're taking out Witches, or exhausting Witch's Mist here. Let's go... there. To make it where Quinlan will die. Okay. Then we're just going to go ahead and attack him. Migs has done his job. Okay. That's a bit of a problem, the space, for sure. If he claims initiative, we just play Secretive Sage. Okay. Is he claiming here? Chose the Green Squadron, okay. He dealt 2 damage to my base, okay. So then we're claiming the initiative. Admiral Mahdi is not the worst. We do have a Secretive Sage in the discard, don't we? Or we have a Heroic Resolve, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we can play Anakin here to take out both of these guys. Definitely need to take out the red 3. Anakin was a good draw. Okay. We're going to use Witch of the Mist. Oh, so he just used an ability. Okay. So we just cleared his board now. Okay, he's going with another. Yeah, I mean, we're just going to claim Grid the Devastator here. Okay, easy resource there. Venestra is not really a big problem. Do we just kill Venestra and then kill Fang Fighter with Devastator? Yeah. Or we can just set up the knockout. Let's just set up the knockout. For Sage to kill it. So that we can keep Anakin on board. Okay. Go Sage, take that out. Okay, Exhaust Witch is missed. We're gonna pass. Want him to play a ground unit here, so we can take it out. Alrighty. He's got the initiative, that's cool. I'm okay just keeping my hand. He does not have the Force currently. He played a Greedo. Not too worried about a Greedo. Can we win this turn, I think, is the better question. Play 2, 4, 7. We're swinging for a lot. Didn't get the Sith Holocron, unfortunately. Let's time this so where we can kill the Greedo. If he triggers it, that we can kill our Admiral Mahdi. Potentially. So at this point, we still have an 11-11 Kylo. So we're almost at lethal. 10, 15. Yeah, we're at lethal. Okay. All right, let's get in for... So he can do that. Okay. So let's go face for 9. He claimed the initiative. Okay. I think that's game. Alrighty. That's the game. Sure. Good game, good game. Yeah, super powerful. Alright, we are keeping. I like this hand. Migs and... I don't think they're going to have Sentinels, are they? They could, because they have like Phase Dark Trooper and stuff. Maybe Battle Fury? Because I like the Snapshot. Snapshot feels like a good card to have. Yeah, this deck is really sweet, but like the lines of play, you can tell these are lines of play that take a lot of practice. Like I am you know, trying to navigate my way through this, playing this for the second time. So it's like, I don't know what to do. I'm just still figuring it out. Witch of the Mist is nice. Secret of Sage is probably better, though. Yeah, we can squeeze. Could almost play both of them this turn. I feel like going wide is definitely not a bad thing against them. I don't want to get rid of my upgrades, though, because that's like making MiGs put pressure on their base. but the shield is better. Okay. I really don't want to help them ramp. I don't think that's what we want to do here. We're going to get rid of Snapshot first. Not going to give them free ramp. Let's get the Secretive Sage down. I mean, we know he's going to take out Migs. That's a given. But we're going to get in for as much pressure as we can. I might play Long Pike next turn, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe not. Because Pillage feels pretty good. But they have they have 5 cards in hand after this. So if we don't play the Long Pike this turn, we're playing Pillage because that's our best card. Unless they play a 5-drop. Snoke flips on 6, right? So we need that Secretive Sage to be out there. Because he's going to be there. He's going to get Snoke next turn. Yeah, I still think I'm doing that. Okay, there goes Migs. We do have Power of the Dark Side, too. Let's go ahead and... I mean, we could just Power the Dark Side here and then kill Snoke with Force Lightning. Either way, we can kill Snoke with Force Lightning, right? As long as Sage is out here. Pillage kind of puts them in an awkward spot. But they have to decide cards that they don't want to get rid of necessarily. Let's just attack first before we do anything. That's a card I definitely don't want to deal with. Yeah, we're just going to power. And then we're going to discard that. Ooh, it says Holocron. I like it. I like it a lot. This makes this a 3/3 with a shield. He already claimed the initiative, right? Yeah. Okay. Another Long Pike. I just think that's the easy resource at this point. Bazine takes what? Oh, and Force Lightning, probably. Which is not fun. Yeah, he takes the Force Lightning, and we get another Lone Pike, right? What do we have in the discard right now? We have Snapshot, Infiltrator, Heroic Resolve, so 3, 3, 7. So that's a 2, 7, 8 damage. In for base. Let's go face. We could do 2 damage to it, but then it loses its shield, right? So we don't want to do that. I think we just want to play a Long Pike here. There's the Snoke. Could have played the Witch of the Mist there. Okay. Claim. Another Pillage, okay. Double Pillage? I don't think we're double pillaging here. I think we're just putting pressure. Do we care about Snoke? I'm definitely not putting a shield on that. Let's put a shield on Long Pike and Bazine, I guess. Could have flipped it. Well, I can't flip yet on 6. Sorry, what's happening? Okay. Get in for 3 more. To 18. Yes, we will do that. To get in for 5 for the Silicon. Okay, Snoke's out of 10. He definitely wants to swing, right? What is Kylo flipping at next turn? 7 resources. So we're swinging in for 8 damage. Immediately. So we really just want to claim the initiative right after we pillage, I think. Take 7. 8. He's not going to claim here because he wants to gain the restore. I don't think. Because if he goes to 8, then he goes to 20. Okay, so we're going to claim. We're going to claim. Okay. Hotshot Blaster's not bad either. I do like the constructed lightsaber, but unfortunately, it's a little too late. Deploy Kylo. We're going to go 3. To 26. Yeah, 29. He's got to be able to remove the Witch of the Mist. That kills Kylo, but it doesn't... Yeah, he's got to kill Witch of the Mist here. Because of that Sith Hillicron puts him in a bad position. It's a great card. And then we just claim. Yeah, oh, he didn't do it. Okay, good game, good game. All right. Looks like a keep to me. Probably going to resource Long Pike for sure. It's always an easy resource decision. And then probably Mahdi. I don't think we're too worried about. I mean, we do have the Sith Holocron, but I just really want to get those other cards in the discard pile, you know? Depends on what he plays here before we decide to claim initiative. Or... Okay. I'm actually going to get rid of the snapshot first. Because the Sith Holocron on the Secretive Sage is actually... What is he doing? Okay, he's just passing? I'm confused. We get another Long Pike here. That is enticing. He flips on 5. So we definitely want to play the Force Lightning on 5. What are we doing this turn? Seth Helicron, Grenade Strike probably? Or do we want to go Witch of the Mist? I just don't think... I mean, getting Long Pike out on 4 is actually next turn is not bad. Especially because he didn't play anything this turn. Alright, we're probably going to Grenade Strike something and then Sith Holocron, I think is the plan. We could draw a card. But let's... just play this card. Grenade Strike just allows us to Tarkintown. And I did switch Grenade Strike in the main board since I'm just playing best of one, and I just really like it as an option. To just be able to remove something that's a problem. Now he does play Sentinel, so there's another reason. But I think we're just going to go ahead and play the Grenade Strike if the game will let us. We're going to go in for 3. No, we're not going to do that until we have another unit on board. Take out the blue leader here. And then we're going to pass. All right, another Lumpike. Easy resource decision. Again, Infiltrator skill is actually pretty important here, but I think we're just going to save it for Kylo. Because I just want to play Lumpike here. Since we're... see what he does here. Sentinel, then we're obviously going to play Infiltrator skill on the Secretive Sage, I think. But he played a Air Sentinel, so I don't care about that. And that's a great target for Lumpike. Okay. Honestly, there's a part of me that, as much as I would like to attach that card or just get rid of it, again, because we are the aggressor here, I think I'm okay with that too. I'm just going to keep it because I want to be able to get past the inevitable ground sentinel of like an Obi-Wan. Why does our opponent keep passing? I am so confused what they're doing here. Devastator is nice. So is Force Throw. Ugh. That's tough. But again, I think Force Throw is less valuable here. We're just going to go in here, put a shield on that, put a shield on Lumpike. Okay, he got in for 2. Again, I think I'm going to just ping off the shield of Lumpike, get in for 5. Still not sure what our opponent is doing here. Maybe they are new to the game. I do not know. Okay, there's the Koth. He does not have the Force. Do we care about Obi-Wan? Swinging in for 3. I don't think so. I think we're just going to take this thing out. Because that's more of a threat. I mean, we could also just attack him with Lumpike next turn to kill it. Yeah, and then shield Lumpike. See if he flips here. He does. Okay. Okay. If he attacks our Lothkith, the Koth into the into the Lumpike. What upgrades do we have? Just the snapshot reflex so far. I mean, we might as well, right? Okay, there's another card. Okay, I think Grenade Strike has done its job, getting rid of that blue leader early on. I think we're just going to discard the Battle Fury to make Kylo more powerful next turn and try to just close this thing out. I would imagine he attacks Lumpike and ramps into 7 resources, which is fine. I think it was more important to get rid of the leader. think Anakin would be nice to find right about now. If he doesn't attack. Okay. I'm just going to ignore him completely and just go face. Put a shield here and a shield there to protect Long Pike. We could actually just put a Battle Fury onto Secretive Sage and just win the game. So that's what we're going to try to do. So I'm not sure what our opponent can do at this point. So we were just crushing it with shielded units. All right. Not really sure what to think about this game, but I will take it. Good game. All right, good looking keep. Hotshot Blaster for sure, and then I mean, I like both the upgrades. Force Lightning is definitely important for taking out Avar Kriss on its deploy turn. I mean, I think it's got to be Heroic Resolve for this matchup. Okay, we'll go ahead and ping that thing and take it out. Gotta love the Migs Mayfield starts. Just feels like kind of silly. There's the reason that we kept the Force Lightning. Granadia. I do like the Grenade Strike, but we don't need two of them. No upgrades, unfortunately. Okay, just a straight up resupply here. So this is a good turn for us to get Witch of the Mist down. It looks like that's all we're going to be doing, because we don't have any upgrades in our hand. Just trying to... Ooh, another Force Lightning. Okay, I think now it's time to let Grenade Strike go. It was good last matchup. Still no upgrades for Migs here, unfortunately. But the Karis is nice. So is the Power of the Dark Side. It really depends on what they play here. They're already getting to big stuff. We just have a Sith Holocron, which is not a lot. Yoda, okay. He ambushed in Yoda. Okay. Well, isn't that odd? Because we totally would have played Grenade Strike if we had known that. The Timely Yoda. Get us back to 0. I mean, we don't care if Yoda attacks again. We haven't got any damage on the base. I think what we're going to do here is just attack with Witch of the Mist. And just get him to a place where we can kill Yoda with either Witch of the Mist or Karis, depending on what happens. I was about to say 3. Okay, I don't think we need 3 of these. We need to get some upgrades in the discard pile. Especially because they're getting closer and closer to Karis. Alright, so if he kills Witch of the Mist, that's fine. Yep, that's what he did. Okay, let's go ahead and discard Battle Fury. Alright, where to place now where we can play like Power of the Dark Side, Secretive Sage. Okay. Okay, just get in for damage. Pass. Another upgrade, like a constructed lightsaber or something. Yoda's... yeah, okay, that's good. Anakin is good too here. The issue is that we're getting to a place where they're going to start playing a lot of big drops. So we're just saving the Force Lightning. I also really like the idea of playing Anakin with Heroic Resolve since we found another one. So I'm going to risk it. That's going to be our 3rd Force Lightning, though. We do have Power of the Dark Side still. They're playing blue, so they're most likely not playing Force Throw. Just a well-timed Force Throw would be bad, I guess. Yep, there's a card. Okay, so we're going to do the thing with Anakin here. All right, Battle Fury is cool. All right, so we're going to Anakin and just take out this Luke. We're going to go Kriss and take out Luke. We're going to pass. Okay, how many, what are we at here? I think double Battle Fury is nice for sure. I like the MIGs here. Shatterpoint the Anakin, sure. Okay, he's probably playing. So Force Lightning, this thing has 10 HP, so we need 6 resources for this. Let's go ahead and just discard a card from our hand. Okay. Power of the Dark Side is wonderful, actually. So we can delay our action. Okay. Do we care about Avar Kriss flipping here? Do we just Force Lightning for 3? Yes, and then we can Power of the Dark Side. In addition, he probably doesn't think we have it, but we do. If it'll click. Sorry, opponent. He does have home ones and all sorts of things. Really be nice if we could find a snapshot reflex here. Oh, okay, so we have 2 Battle Furies. Okay, yeah, I was about to say, I think that's where we're going to get the concession from our opponent. Good game.